love when I send my doctor this really long, detailed question and I get like a sentence in response. He's like, no, I do not recommend that. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, to America on the Road with Chris Teague. This is Jack Nerad back with you. But it's road test time. And some interesting vehicles here, some crossovers that have some family applications. Certainly the vehicle I was driving was our family vacation vehicle. And Chris, you were driving the Ford Bronco Sport. Tell us all about that.
I did. I drove the Bronco Sport, which is the smaller of the two Bronco models that Ford debuted about almost 5 years ago now. It feels like it's just yesterday that happened. But the Bronco Sport is a smaller subcompact vehicle. It's based on the same platform as the Ford Escape. It does have legitimate off-road capability. But before I go too far, Jack, have you recently or any time in the past year driven a Bronco Sport? And what do you think?
I have, and I like them. You know, I don't know that they get enough respect for their off-road ability. I think during the introduction of the Ford Bronco Sport, I had a chance to drive one off-road at some length. And I was really impressed at what it will do. And maybe that's hidden to a lot of people.
Yeah, it does have some pretty serious off-road chops. But taking a step back, you can get into this vehicle for around $32,000. I tested the top Badlands trim, which came out at around $43,000 after some options. But you get four-wheel drive. They call it four-wheel drive. It's probably closer to all-wheel drive. But they come standard with every trim. So you can get the cheapest model here and still get some decent off-road chops. The base engine is a turbocharged 1.5-liter three-cylinder. It makes 181 horsepower, 190 pound-feet of torque. My test vehicle came with the optional 2.0. It's a turbocharged 2.0-liter four-cylinder. Much healthier, 238 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque with an 8-speed automatic transmission and four-wheel drive. So this vehicle is not super quick, Jack, but it is reasonably powerful. You get 277 pound-feet of torque. It's pretty stout for such a small vehicle. I will say that this engine is very buzzy and loud, so it doesn't feel very refined. And I thought that would be the case with the three-cylinder, but it's also the case with the upgraded four-cylinder. The ride quality is pretty good. I mean, I think that the Badlands trim comes with all-terrain tires, so it does a little bit better job of soaking up some of the cracks in the pavement that we like to have. We keep year-round here in Maine, but overall a pretty comfortable ride. Jack, what do you think about sort of having a legitimate off-road capability but a decent on-road ride quality?
I think it's critical for a vehicle, especially like the Bronco Sport. I mean, virtually everybody who buys one of these is going to be using it as their daily driver. They're going to be driving back and forth to work. They're going to be on pavement most of the time, right? So it's critical that it perform well in that kind of situation, and I think it does. And at the same time, as you say, good off-road chops. So I think it's a nice compromise for a lot of people who want to do some off-roading, but don't want to spend a ton of money and have to commute in their vehicle every day.
Yeah, I agree, especially when we were just talking about $77,000 being a bargain for the Jeep, $35,000 Bronco. It doesn't seem so bad.
Right.
And outside of some wind and road noise, it's really just as good on road as it is off. So I think that's the benefit of the configuration here. Inside, you get 5 seats. The front seats are very spacious, nicely padded, very comfortable. The back seats are a little tight on leg room, and I say that because if you have a kid in a car seat, you might be fighting for some position with the leg room back there. But the Bronco Sport is very tall, so you get plenty of headroom inside and the back, especially, or even for adults, I should say. My Badlands Chester came with synthetic leather upholstery. It had microfiber inserts, heated front seats, heated steering wheel. Excuse me. And the one thing I want to point out here is if you are using this as a daily driver, the cabin is not quite as nice as you're probably going to expect from something like a Ford Escape or a Ford Explorer. It does feel more utilitarian. It's a little bit more stripped down, and the materials are a little bit cheaper, more hard-touch plastics, and everything is a little bit beefier insides to stand up to the off-road abuse. But I would say also, with 2 kids, a dog, you're going to be perfectly comfortable in this vehicle, and you've got enough room to do just about anything that you want. You get a 13.2-inch touchscreen, which is a larger than expected display in a vehicle this size. 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. Jack, this system runs Ford Sync 4 infotainment. What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think the Ranger has Ford Sync 4 too, and they've not gone beyond that. So when we talk about Sync 4, it seems like the older system. I guess it seems like it because it is, and I don't think it's as zooty as their most recent system that is Google based. It works just fine, but I don't think it's state of the art, right?
Yeah, I don't think you would find a problem with that unless you were using the two systems back to back, though, because
Right.
Sync 4 is still pretty straightforward. It's very responsive, and it's easy to use while you're driving, which I think is one of the big things for me with Ford and also with Stellantis, who has the other one of my favorite systems. So, wireless phone charging comes standard. You get Bluetooth, Sirius XM radio, all around a very well equipped package here, even in the lower trim levels. And then my test trim came with a full package of safety equipment, so blind spot monitoring, forward cross traffic alerts, etc. I think if you can live without some of the niceties like a sunroof and some of the nicer upholstery here, Jack, one of the mid-range trims, the Outer Banks is $36,000. You could get into this vehicle, still get the off-road capability, and save a few $1,000s in the process.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the good thing about the Bronco Sport is you can kind of equip it for what you're going to do, right? I mean, there's various levels of off-roading that you can look at, or maybe not very much off-roading at all, but kind of profiling, and there's nothing wrong with that either. So pretty cool. I think it's a good vehicle.
I agree.